Could Lewandowski be the missing piece? Why a free transfer could transform Sesko and United's attack. Welcome to United News, where we explore every possibility. Hello and welcome back to United News, your trusted companion for all things Manchester United. We are here to bring you not just the news, but the stories behind the news. We explore possibilities. We analyze opportunities. We look at what could happen, not just what has happened. Today we are going to discuss something that might surprise you. Something that might seem unlikely at first, but actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it carefully. So get comfortable, keep an open mind, and let us dive into a transfer possibility that could change everything for Manchester United. The idea that sounds crazy, but might be genius. What if Manchester United could sign one of the greatest strikers of the modern era for absolutely nothing? What if they could bring in a proven goalscorer with years of experience at the highest level without spending a single penny on a transfer fee? What if they could add someone who knows exactly what it takes to win the biggest trophies in football? Sound too good to be true? Well, it might actually be possible. And the player we are talking about is Robert Lewandowski. Yes, that Robert Lewandowski. The Polish superstar who has been terrorizing defenses across Europe for over a decade. The man who scored goals for fun at Borussia Dortmund and then Bayern Munich. The striker who moved to Barcelona and continued his incredible scoring record even in his mid-30s. That Lewandowski. Your first reaction might be skepticism. Why would Lewandowski leave Barcelona? Why would he choose Manchester United? Is he not too old? Has his best football not already passed? These are all fair questions. But let us look at this possibility properly and understand why it might actually make perfect sense for everyone involved. Understanding the Barcelona situation. To understand why Lewandowski might be available, we need to look at what is happening at Barcelona. The Polish striker joined the Catalan club in 2022 and has been excellent. In the 2024-25 season alone, he scored an incredible 42 goals in 52 appearances. That is the kind of output that world-class strikers produce. That is the kind of consistency that wins you major trophies. In La Liga specifically, Lewandowski scored 27 goals last season. That made him the second highest scorer in the entire league. Only Kylian Mbappe, who scored 31 for Real Madrid, managed more. Think about that for a moment. A striker in his mid-30s outscored almost everyone in one of the best leagues in the world. But here is the problem. Barcelona have a new manager this season in Hansi Flick. And Flick has a very specific way of playing football. His system relies heavily on pressing. It demands intense running without the ball. It requires forwards who can chase and harass opposition defenders for 90 minutes. At 37 years old, Lewandowski remains an exceptional finisher. His positioning is still world-class. His instinct for finding space in the penalty area has not diminished. His ability to convert chances is as good as ever. But can he press relentlessly for an entire match? Can he provide the intense off-the-ball work that Flick's system demands? That is the question Barcelona are asking themselves. Reports suggest that Barcelona have concerns about whether Lewandowski fits what Flick wants to do. The club hold an option to extend his contract for another year. But there are genuine doubts about whether they will trigger that clause. If they decide not to, Lewandowski becomes a free agent next summer. Available to any club that wants him. No transfer fee required. And that is where Manchester United come into the picture. Why United should be interested. Manchester United spent an enormous amount of money on attacking players during the summer transfer window. The exact figure was £194 million. That is a huge investment. They brought in Matheus Cunha, Brian Bumo, and Benjamin Sesko. 3 talented forwards who are all showing promise. So why would United need another striker? Why would they be interested in Lewandowski when they have just spent so much money on attackers? The answer is simple. Experience, leadership, guaranteed goals, and most importantly, someone who can teach the younger players what it takes to succeed at the highest level. Let us start with the experience factor. Lewandowski has played in Champions League finals. He has won league titles in multiple countries. He has scored goals in the biggest matches against the best defenders in the world. He knows how to handle pressure. He knows how to perform when it matters most. He knows what championship-winning teams look like because he has been part of them. That kind of experience cannot be bought in a transfer market. You cannot teach it in training sessions. You can only learn it by being around someone who has lived it. And that is exactly what the young forwards at Manchester United need right now. Then there is the leadership aspect. Lewandowski has been a captain. He has been the main man at huge clubs. He knows how to lead by example. He knows how to demand standards from his teammates. He knows how to create a winning culture in a dressing room. These are qualities that Manchester United desperately need. The guaranteed goals factor is obvious. Even at 37, Lewandowski proved last season that he can still score at an elite level. 42 goals in 52 games. Those numbers speak for themselves. United have improved their goal scoring this season with 15 goals in 8 league games. But they still need more reliability in front of goal. They still need someone they can count on to convert chances. Lewandowski provides that. And perhaps most importantly, Lewandowski could be the perfect mentor for Benjamin Sesko. More on that later. But first, let us address the elephant in the room. The age question. Is Lewandowski too old? This is the obvious concern. Lewandowski will be 37 years old by the time next summer arrives. That is ancient by football standards. Most strikers have retired or moved to easier leagues by that age. So is it crazy to consider signing him? Well, let us look at the evidence. Last season, at 36 years old, Lewandowski scored 42 goals. This season, at 37, he scored 4 times in Barcelona's opening 7 league games. Does that sound like a player who is finished? Does that sound like someone who cannot perform at the top level anymore? The truth is that age affects different players differently. Some players rely on explosive pace and physical power. When they lose that pace as they get older, their effectiveness drops dramatically. But other players rely on intelligence, positioning, and technical quality. These players can remain effective much longer because the attributes they depend on do not decline as quickly. Lewandowski falls into the second category. He has never been the fastest striker. He has never relied on outrunning defenders. Instead, he uses his brain. He finds space before defenders even know he is there. He anticipates where the ball will end up. He positions himself perfectly to receive passes and take shots. These are skills that do not disappear with age. Moreover, modern sports science means that players can maintain their physical condition much longer than in previous generations. Training methods are better. Nutrition is better. Recovery techniques are better. Medical care is better. All of this means that players in their mid to late 30s can still perform at high levels if they look after themselves properly. And Lewandowski is famously professional about his fitness and preparation. But here is the key point. United would not be signing Lewandowski to be their main striker for the next 5 years. They would be signing him for 1 or 2 seasons maximum. They would be bringing him in as an experienced head who can contribute goals while helping develop the younger players. That is a very different proposition from giving a long-term contract to an aging player. The history of successful veteran strikers at United. Manchester United actually have a good track record of signing experienced forwards and getting value from them. This is not some radical new idea. This is something the club has done successfully in recent history. Think about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He joined United in 2016 at 34 years old. Many people questioned whether he could handle the Premier League at his age. But in his first season, Ibrahimovic scored 28 goals in 46 appearances. He won the League Cup and Europa League. He was one of United's best players that season. His impact went beyond just the goals too. His presence elevated everyone around him. His confidence was infectious. His standards raised the bar for the entire squad. Then think about Edinson Cavani. He joined United in 2020 at 33 years old. Again, there were doubts. Again, he proved the doubters wrong. In his first season, Cavani scored 17 goals and provided 6 assists in 39 appearances. He was professional, hardworking, and clinical when chances came his way. His movement and positioning were lessons for the younger forwards in the squad. Both Ibrahimovic and Cavani came to United late in their careers. Both made significant contributions. Both left the club in better shape than they found it. Both showed that experienced strikers can still deliver for Manchester United if they have the right mentality and professionalism. Lewandowski fits this profile perfectly. In fact, he might be even better suited to this role than either Ibrahimovic or Cavani were. His goal-scoring record is superior. His trophy cabinet is more impressive. His experience at the absolute highest level is more extensive. The comparison is not perfect. Every player is different. Every situation is unique. But the precedent is there. United have done this before. They have signed veteran strikers. And it has worked out well. The financial sense of a free transfer. Let us talk about money for a moment. Because this is where the Lewandowski opportunity becomes really interesting. Manchester United have already spent £194 million on attackers this summer. That is an enormous investment. The club cannot keep spending at that level every transfer window. Financial fair play rules exist. Budgets have limits. Even wealthy clubs need to be smart about how they spend their money. But signing Lewandowski on a free transfer changes the calculation completely. There would be no transfer fee. Zero. Nothing. That is a massive saving compared to buying another striker who might cost anywhere from £50 million to £100 million or more. Yes, Lewandowski would command high wages. Reports suggest he currently earns around £430,000 per week at Barcelona. That is a lot of money. But think about it in context. If United signed a top striker for £70 million and paid them £200,000 per week, the total cost over a 2-year contract would be roughly similar to signing Lewandowski for free and paying him £430,000 per week. The difference is that with Lewandowski, you know exactly what you are getting. You are not taking a gamble on a younger player who might or might not adapt to the Premier League. You are not hoping that potential turns into performance. You are getting a proven world-class striker who has done it at the highest level for over a decade. From a financial perspective, this is actually a sensible deal. You avoid the massive upfront cost of a transfer fee. You get a player with proven quality. And you only commit for a short period, meaning you are not stuck with a declining player on huge wages for many years. This is smart business. This is the kind of opportunistic move that well-run clubs make. Barcelona's potential problem could become United's opportunity. The connection that almost happened. Here is something that many younger United fans might not know. Lewandowski nearly joined Manchester United once before. Back in 2012, when he was at Borussia Dortmund and emerging as one of the best young strikers in Europe, United were interested in signing him. Sir Alex Ferguson wanted to bring Lewandowski to Old Trafford. And according to Lewandowski himself, he was tempted by the opportunity. He has revealed in interviews that he had given United the green light. He was ready to make the move. He wanted to play for Ferguson and test himself in the Premier League. But the deal never happened. For various reasons, United did not complete the transfer. Lewandowski eventually joined Bayern Munich instead. And the rest is history. He became one of the greatest strikers of his generation. He won every trophy possible in Germany. He broke goal-scoring records. He became a legend. Many United fans have wondered over the years what might have been. What if Lewandowski had joined in 2012? How many goals would he have scored for United? How many trophies would he have won at Old Trafford? Now, 13 years later, there might be a second chance. A chance to finally bring Lewandowski to Manchester United. A chance to complete the transfer that almost happened all those years ago. A chance to write a different ending to this story. There is something poetic about that. Something fitting. And while Lewandowski is obviously not the same 24-year-old player he was in 2012, he is still an exceptional striker who could make a real difference at Old Trafford. The Sesko factor, why this move makes perfect sense. Now we get to what might be the most important reason why signing Lewandowski would be brilliant for Manchester United. Benjamin Sesko. Sesko is 21 years old. He is talented. He has potential. United paid good money to bring him to the club this summer. He has already scored 2 goals in his first 8 Premier League appearances. That is a decent start for a young striker adapting to a new league and a new team. But Sesko is still developing. He is still learning. He is still figuring out what it takes to be a top striker in one of the hardest leagues in the world. He needs guidance. He needs mentorship. He needs someone who can show him the way. Who better to provide that guidance than Robert Lewandowski, one of the greatest strikers of the past 20 years. A man who has scored over 600 career goals. A player who has won league titles in Germany and Spain. A striker who has performed at the highest level year after year after year. Think about what Sesko could learn from training with Lewandowski every day. How to find space in the penalty area. How to time your runs. How to position your body when receiving the ball. How to stay calm under pressure. How to read the game. How to be ruthless in front of goal. How to maintain your standards even when things are not going well. These lessons are priceless. You cannot put a value on the education that a young striker gets from working closely with a world-class veteran. It is the kind of mentorship that can accelerate development and help a talented player reach their potential years earlier than they might otherwise. The article we are discussing uses the phrase Sesko would explode. That might sound dramatic, but it actually captures the potential impact perfectly. With Lewandowski as a mentor, Sesko could take his game to another level. He could learn faster. He could improve quicker. He could become the striker United need him to be sooner rather than later. This is not just speculation. We have seen this pattern countless times in football. Young players who train with world-class veterans improve faster. They pick up the small details that make the difference. They learn the habits and routines that lead to success. They understand what greatness looks like because they see it every day. Lewandowski could also take some pressure off Sesko. Right now, as one of the expensive summer signings, there are expectations on the young Slovenian. Fans want to see him score goals. The media judge every performance. That pressure can be difficult for a 21-year-old in his first season at a massive club. But if Lewandowski is at the club, scoring goals regularly, some of that pressure shifts away from Sesko. The young striker can develop more naturally. He can learn without the weight of expectation crushing him. He can make mistakes without every error being magnified and criticized. This is how top clubs develop young players. They do not throw them in at the deep end and demand instant perfection. They surround them with experienced players who can share the burden. They create an environment where learning is possible without excessive pressure. How would Lewandowski fit into Amorim's system? One legitimate question is whether Lewandowski would fit into the way Ruben Amorim wants Manchester United to play. We mentioned earlier that Barcelona have concerns about Lewandowski's suitability for Hansi Flick's high-pressing system. So would he face similar issues at United? The answer is probably no. And here is why. Amorim's system is different from Flick's. Yes, Amorim wants his team to press and work hard without the ball. But his pressing is more structured and less reliant on individual players chasing lost causes all over the pitch. He sets pressing triggers. He organizes his team to press as a unit. He is tactical about when to press and when to hold shape. In this system, an intelligent striker like Lewandowski could thrive. He would not need to run endlessly. He would need to position himself correctly, press at the right moments, and use his experience to make smart decisions. Those are things Lewandowski excels at. Moreover, Amorim's system creates chances. United are scoring more goals this season because the team is generating better opportunities. Lewandowski is one of the best finishers in world football. Put him in a system that creates chances and he will score goals. It is that simple. Think about how United play now. Bumo and Cunha provide pace and creativity on the wings. Bruno Fernandes creates from midfield. The team moves the ball quickly and gets into dangerous positions. Now imagine Lewandowski in the center of that attack. Imagine his movement creating space for others. Imagine his finishing converting the chances that other strikers might miss. Could be devastating for opposition defenses. It could be exactly what United need to turn good performances into dominant ones. Could be the difference between finishing fourth and challenging for the title. Amorim is also a pragmatic manager. He would adapt his system to maximize Lewandowski's strengths. He would use the Polish striker in ways that get the best out of him. He would not ask Lewandowski to do things that do not suit him at this stage of his career. This is intelligent management. You do not force world-class players into rigid systems that do not suit them. You adapt and adjust to get the most from the talent you have. Amorim has shown throughout his career that he can do this. The potential drawbacks and concerns. We have talked a lot about why signing Lewandowski makes sense. But let us be balanced and consider the potential problems with this idea. First, there is no guarantee that Lewandowski would want to join Manchester United. He might prefer to stay at Barcelona if they offer him a new contract. He might want to move to a different club. He might want to return to his native Poland or move to a less demanding league. We cannot assume he would choose United. Second, even if he is interested, there would be competition for his signature. Other top clubs would want him if he becomes available on a free transfer. Clubs in Saudi Arabia might offer him enormous wages that United cannot match. He would have options. United would need to convince him that Old Trafford is the right place. Third, there is the risk that Lewandowski's form drops significantly in the next few months. He is 37 years old. The decline can come suddenly at that age. What looks like a great opportunity in October might look like a terrible idea by May if his performances fall off a cliff. Fourth, signing a high-profile veteran might block opportunities for younger players. United have invested in young attackers. They need to develop. If Lewandowski is taking minutes away from Sesko or other prospects, that could be problematic for the long-term development of the squad. Fifth, there is always a risk with short-term solutions. They can prevent you from making the difficult decisions needed for long-term success. If United sign Lewandowski and he does well for one season, they might be tempted to keep relying on him rather than building for the future. These are all legitimate concerns. They should not be dismissed. Any decision to pursue Lewandowski would need to weigh these risks against the potential benefits. What would success look like? If Manchester United did sign Lewandowski next summer, what would we consider a successful signing? What would we expect from him? What would make this move worth it? Let us set some realistic expectations. First, goals. At minimum, you would want Lewandowski to score 15 to 20 goals across all competitions in a season. That is a reasonable target for a striker at his age playing perhaps 30 to 40 matches. If he can deliver that, he is justifying his wages and his place in the squad. Second, big game performances. You would want Lewandowski to score in important matches. Against top-6 rivals in the Premier League. In cup competitions. Potentially in European games if United qualify. This is where his experience should really show. This is where a player of his caliber should make the difference. Third, mentorship. You would want to see clear evidence that Sesko and other young attackers are learning from him. You would want to see their development accelerated. You would want to see them picking up the habits and skills that make Lewandowski so effective. Fourth, professionalism. You would want Lewandowski to be a model professional, setting standards in training, looking after his body, being a positive influence in the dressing room, showing younger players what it takes to have a long and successful career. Fifth, trophies. Ultimately, Manchester United sign players to win things. If Lewandowski helps United win a trophy during his time at the club, whether it is the League Cup, FA Cup, or even a challenge for the league title, then the signing would be considered a success. If Lewandowski could deliver on most or all of these expectations, United fans would look back on this signing very positively. They would remember it as a smart, opportunistic piece of business that helped the team during a crucial period. The bigger picture, building for now and the future. The beauty of potentially signing Lewandowski is that it fits into both short-term and long-term planning. This is not an either-or situation. This is not choosing between winning now and building for the future. This is doing both at the same time. In the short term, Lewandowski gives United a proven goal scorer. Someone who can deliver immediately. Someone who might make the difference in tight games. Someone who helps the team compete for trophies right now. This is important because United cannot afford to write off seasons. They need to be competitive every year. In the longer term, Lewandowski helps develop the young strikers already at the club, particularly Sesko, but others too. By learning from Lewandowski, these players become better faster. They reach their potential sooner. And when Lewandowski eventually retires or moves on, United have developed strikers ready to take over. This is smart squad building. This is how the best clubs operate. They balance experience with youth. They blend immediate quality with future potential. They create an environment where everyone benefits from being part of the group. Compare this to just signing another young striker with potential. That would be building for the future but doing nothing for the present. Or compare it to signing an experienced striker in his prime for a huge transfer fee. That would be expensive and might block the development of younger players for longer. The Lewandowski option threads the needle. It addresses immediate needs without sacrificing long-term development. It adds quality without breaking the bank on transfer fees. It brings experience without committing to a lengthy contract that could become a burden. Final thoughts. A move that makes too much sense? So here we are at the end of our analysis. And the question is, does signing Robert Lewandowski make sense for Manchester United? The answer, surprisingly, is yes. Yes, it makes a lot of sense. More sense than you might initially think. More sense than most people would probably expect. Yes, Lewandowski is 37. Yes, he would be expensive in terms of wages. Yes, there are risks involved. But the potential benefits outweigh those concerns. The opportunity to sign a world-class striker for free does not come around often. The chance to pair a young prospect like Sesko with one of the great strikers of this generation is rare. The possibility of adding guaranteed goals and vast experience to your squad without spending on a transfer fee is something you have to seriously consider. Manchester United have a history of successfully signing experienced strikers. They have shown that with the right player and the right circumstances, these moves can work brilliantly. Lewandowski fits the profile of players who have succeeded at United in the past. More importantly, this move could accelerate the development of Benjamin Sesko. That alone might justify the signing. If Sesko learns from Lewandowski and becomes the striker United need him to be, the impact extends far beyond however many goals Lewandowski scores himself. Will this actually happen? We do not know. It depends on many factors beyond United's control. Barcelona might extend Lewandowski's contract. Other clubs might offer him better options. The player himself might have different plans. These are all possibilities. But if the opportunity does arise, Manchester United should absolutely pursue it. They should be at the front of the queue. They should do everything they can to convince Lewandowski that Old Trafford is where he should spend the final chapter of his remarkable career. Because sometimes in football, the smartest moves are the ones that nobody saw coming. Sometimes the best business is done when you spot an opportunity that others miss. And sometimes the perfect solution is right in front of you if you are willing to look past the obvious concerns and see the bigger picture. Robert Lewandowski to Manchester United. It sounds unlikely. It sounds unrealistic. But actually, it might be exactly what both parties need. And that is worth exploring. Thank you for exploring this possibility with us. Thank you for joining us here at Unite United News for this deep dive into a fascinating transfer possibility. We know this is not your typical transfer story. Robert Lewandowski is not the young, trendy target that gets everyone excited. But we believe in looking at every angle. We believe in exploring opportunities that others might dismiss. We believe in giving you content that makes you think differently about your football club. This is what Unite United News is all about. We do not just repeat what everyone else is saying. We dig deeper. We analyze properly. We present ideas and possibilities that challenge conventional thinking. We respect your intelligence enough to give you detailed, thoughtful analysis instead of simple headlines and knee-jerk reactions. Whether Manchester United actually pursue Lewandowski or not, we hope this article has given you something to think about. We hope it has helped you see this potential transfer from different angles. We hope it has shown you why something that seems unlikely at first glance might actually make a lot of sense. This is the kind of content we provide every single day at Unite United News. Transfer analysis, tactical breakdowns, training ground updates, match reports, interviews, everything you need to stay fully informed about Manchester United. We encourage you to make us your first stop for United News. Bookmark our site. Share our articles with fellow fans. engage with our content, and most importantly, keep coming back. Because we are here every day, bringing you the stories that matter and the analysis that helps you understand what is really happening at your club. The transfer window might seem far away right now, but in football, opportunities can arise suddenly. Plans can change overnight. Possibilities that seem remote can become realistic very quickly. And when those moments come, we will be here to break it all down for you. Until next time, keep dreaming about what could be. Keep believing in your team. And remember that at Unite United News, we are always looking ahead, always exploring possibilities, always trying to give you the most comprehensive coverage of Manchester United available anywhere. Glory, glory, Man United.